In this video, we'll talk about upsert, short for update and insert, a data generation process that preserves existing records in the destination database. Traditional Tonic data generation uses de-identified data from a source database to populate a destination database. Every time you run the data generation, Tonic replaces the destination database. But what if Tonic is not the only contributor to the destination database? Maybe you have tests that rely on a standard set of records, or you maintain a group of internal user account records. Without upsert, you would need to replace these records after every data generation. Upsert works differently. It starts with the traditional data generation that writes de-identified data to an intermediate database. Tonic then runs the upsert process from the intermediate database to the destination database. For each record in the intermediate database, Tonic uses the primary key to look for a matching record in the destination database. If the record does not exist, Tonic adds it. If the record does exist, Tonic updates it. Tonic ignores all of the other records in the destination database. So how do you enable upsert for a workspace? If the data connector supports upsert, then on the Workspace Details view, toggle on Enable Upsert. Next, review the upsert settings. By default, before the upsert process, Tonic disables any user-defined triggers, which are processes that run after an insert, update, or delete on a table. Disabling these triggers prevents duplicate records in the destination database. Also by default, Tonic automatically runs the upsert process immediately after the data generation to the intermediate database. If you disable this option, then you always start the upsert process manually. You can optionally preserve temporary tables that contain records that the most recent upsert job could not process because of unique constraint conflicts. These tables can be useful for troubleshooting. You can also choose to treat mismatches in foreign key and unique constraints as warnings instead of errors, so that the upsert job does not fail. Finally, provide the connection details for the intermediate database. When upsert is enabled for a workspace, then on the Confirm Generation panel, you can choose whether to enable upsert for that generation. If you disable upsert, then Tonic runs a traditional data generation to the destination database. You can also review the connection information for the intermediate database. To run both the data generation to the intermediate database and the upsert process to the destination database, select Run Generation plus Upsert. If you turned off the option to automatically run upsert after data generation, then to run the data generation to the intermediate database, select Run Generation Only. To run only the upsert process from the current intermediate database to the destination database, select Run Upsert Only. If you don't automatically run upsert after data generation, you must use this option to start the upsert process. You might also use this option to run upsert if an automatic upsert process initially fails. For example, the upsert process can fail when there are schema conflicts in the destination database. After you address the schema conflicts, you can run the upsert process again. On the Job History view, the data generation and upsert jobs are listed separately. Upsert data generation is the data generation to the intermediate database. Upsert is the upsert process. And that concludes our overview of upsert data generation in Tonic. To learn more, check out our other videos, our blogs, or the Tonic product docs.